on June 6, 1944. As thousands of Allied soldiers landed on the beaches of Normandy during D-Day, some German commanders began using an unexpected term to describe certain enemy troops. They called them stormtroopers. But there was something strange about it. This name was originally used for the elite German assault troops of World War I. Now, decades later, the Germans themselves were using this title to describe Allied soldiers. And the most surprising thing, these soldiers were neither American nor British. They were Canadian. During D-Day, Canadian forces were given an extremely difficult mission. They were to attack Juno Beach, one of the 5 sectors of the invasion. The beach was heavily the Germans had built concrete bunkers, machine gun positions, coastal artillery, submerged obstacles to destroy vessels. When the first soldiers arrived on the beach, they faced intense fire. Some units' casualties in the first few hours reached nearly half the total strength. Even so, the Canadians reorganized their formations under fire, and they continued advancing. By the end of D-Day, Canadian troops had advanced more than 10 kilometers into the interior of Normandy. It was one of the greatest advances achieved that day. This performance caught the attention not only of the Allies, but also of the Germans. Military reports began to highlight the behavior of these units. After the landings, one of the main Allied objectives was to capture the city of Cannes. Originally, the plans called for it to be taken in about 24 hours, but the reality was very different. The city was transformed into a devastating battlefield. Their Canadian and British forces faced Waffen-SS S units defending every street and every building. The fighting was extremely close. Soldiers fought inside, destroyed houses, amidst rubble, and under constant bombardment. It was in this environment that the reputation of the Canadian troops began to grow. German reports describe recurring characteristics: aggressive attacks, rapid movements, exploitation of unexpected gaps, persistence, even under heavy losses. These qualities reminded the Germans of their own assault units used decades earlier. Hence the nickname Stormtroopers. When they arrived in France, the Canadians already had combat experience. They had fought in the Allied invasion of Sicily and the Italian campaign. These battles were extremely difficult. Mountainous terrain, minefields, and constant ambushes tested the troops. This experience transformed many Canadian units into hardened veterans even before Normandy. Another important factor was the way the troops were commanded. Canadian officers gave field leaders considerable autonomy. Sergeants and lieutenants could make quick decisions without waiting for detailed orders. This sped up the response during chaotic fighting. While some forces relied on rigid command structures, the Canadians could adapt quickly to changes on the battlefield. In August 1944, one of the most decisive operations of the campaign took place. The formation of the encirclement known as the Falaise Pocket. American forces advanced from the south, Canadian troops pressed from the north, and Polish units closed the encirclement from the east. Large parts of the German 7th Army were trapped within this area. Roads were congested with destroyed vehicles and columns attempting to escape under bombardment. Even in the face of strong resistance, the Canadians maintained strategic positions and blocked escape routes. When the battle ended, much of the German forces in that region had been destroyed or captured. It was one of the most serious defeats suffered by Germany on the Western Front. After that, the Allied advance through France accelerated rapidly. In the final months of the war, Canadian troops advanced through the Netherlands. There they found an extremely serious humanitarian situation. The population faced severe famine and devastated cities. In addition to military operations, Canadian soldiers began distributing food and medical supplies to civilians. In many cities, they were received as liberators. This historical relationship is still remembered today in ceremonies and tributes in the Netherlands. During the war, Canada had just over 11 million inhabitants. Even so, more than 1 million Canadians served in the armed forces. About 45,000 died and another 55,000 were wounded. It was an enormous sacrifice for a relatively small country. Canadian participation in World War II doesn't always receive the same attention as that of other powers. But in many decisive battles on the Western Front, these troops played a fundamental role. From Juno Beach to the liberation of the Netherlands, Canadian soldiers demonstrated an impressive ability to keep advancing even under extremely difficult conditions. And that's why some German officers began using an unusual term to describe them. Stormtroopers, not as propaganda, but as recognition of the strength they faced on the battlefield.